Did you know that over 5 billion people worldwide are actively using social media right now? That's over 62% of the entire global population, scrolling, liking, and sharing at this very moment. But what if I told you that the top 4 countries are not the ones you'd expect? My name is Dr. Ashwin Sood. I'm a board-certified child and adolescent psychiatrist and chief clinical officer for CETA, or the Center for Internet and Technology Addiction. If you like this content, please click subscribe below so I can make more of this stuff for you. All right, let's get to it. I've spent years researching which countries have become the most dependent on these platforms, and what I've discovered shocked even me. In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to go over which top nations spend almost 4 hours daily on social media, and the surprising reasons why their addiction levels have reached crisis proportions. At the end, I'll go over some of the neurobiology of social media use and give you a free resource that you, the viewer, will be able to check out. Let's rock 'em. Contrary to what many might assume, it's not the United States or China leading the world in social media consumption. The data reveals a completely different picture with surprising countries topping the charts. What's most fascinating is that the highest usage rates don't necessarily correlate with technological advancement. In fact, cultural and social factors appear to play a much more significant role than simply having access to the latest devices. Let's start with number 4. The Philippines presents perhaps the most unique case, ranking 4th with 210 minutes, or 3 hours and 30 minutes daily across platforms. But the platform-specific behavior reveals an even more intense relationship with certain apps. While Facebook remains the dominant social media app amongst those who log in monthly, TikTok's engagement is much higher, with 80% of the online population consuming its short-form content. Perhaps most concerning is Facebook's advertising reach in the Philippines, which stands at an almost 99.7% amongst internet users, while TikTok's ad reach has grown by about a quarter at 25%, reaching 50 million Filipinos. These platforms aren't just a part of daily life, they've become the dominant channels through which people connect, consume information, and increasingly form their worldviews. Let's get to number 3 on the list. Brazil. It claims the 3rd spot with 222 minutes or 3 hours and 42 minutes daily. Brazil's social media market ranks as the 5th largest worldwide and the 2nd largest in the Americas, with over 80% of the population actively engaged. By 2028, the number of Brazilian users is projected to exceed 190 million. What's particularly interesting is how deeply messaging apps have integrated into daily Brazilian life. They're not just communication tools, but have become central to media sharing, news consumption, shopping, and customer service. Meta's products are so ubiquitous that they've earned the affectionate nicknames from locals such as Zap for WhatsApp, Insta for Instagram, and Face for Facebook. This takes us to number 2 on the list, South Africa, which follows closely in 2nd place at 224 minutes or 3 hours and 44 minutes daily. What's driving this extraordinarily high engagement? Well, researchers asked South Africans why they use social media, and the responses revealed important cultural patterns. About 65% said that they use these platforms to keep in touch with friends or family. Other major motivations included reading news stories at 45%, finding inspiration for purchases at 43.6%, and seeing what topics are trending at 39.2%, as well as filling spare time. And number 1 on the list, did you guess it? Kenya holds the dubious honor of ranking the 1st globally, with citizens spending an astonishing 235 minutes or nearly 4 hours on social media daily. This isn't just individual behavior, it's a nationwide phenomenon reshaping Kenya's social fabric. WhatsApp dominates as their platform of choice, used by approximately 34% of internet users. This pattern emerged largely through mobile-first internet adoption, allowing many Kenyans to bypass traditional computing entirely and dive straight into a smartphone-centered digital experience. The intensity of usage across these countries far exceeds the global average of 2.5 hours daily. What factors contributed to these significant differences? Well, the research suggests several variables: younger population demographics, high mobile phone penetration, affordable data plans, economic uncertainty, and cultural values that emphasize social connection. In many of these countries, social media has become the primary window to the wider world, especially in regions where traditional media access may be limited. Now let's talk about the neurobiology of social media use, particularly in children. A recent study found that children spend about 7 to 8 hours on screens daily in the United States, and that represents half of a child's waking day. As a child psychiatrist, I'm seeing firsthand how this global epidemic is reshaping family dynamics across every continent. What we're facing goes far beyond simple screen time concerns. The neurologic impact of social media on developing brains is profound and potentially permanent. When children spend hours scrolling through carefully curated content, their neural pathways are literally being rewired. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and emotional regulation, is particularly vulnerable during adolescence. This bombardment of stimuli interrupts the natural development process at precisely the wrong moments. Here's what many parents don't realize. These platforms aren't just passively addictive, they're engineered that way. The variable reward mechanisms built into social media function exactly like slot machines. Sometimes you get likes, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you discover something fascinating, other times it's mundane. This unpredictability creates a powerful psychological hook that keeps users, especially young ones, coming back repeatedly to check for new content, messages, or validation. Social media addiction manifests with distinctive warning signs that differ from other behavioral dependencies. Have you noticed your child become visibly anxious when separated from their phone? Do they reflexively reach for devices during family meals? Many parents tell me their children exhibit genuine withdrawal symptoms, irritability, restlessness, even anger when device access is restricted. These aren't merely bad habits, they're clinical indicators of dependency. The research paints a troubling picture. According to Common Sense Media, half of all teens now report feeling addicted to their mobile devices, with a staggering 78% checking their devices at least hourly. Think about that. Nearly 4 out of 5 teenagers interrupt whatever they're doing every 60 minutes or less to reconnect with their digital world. This compulsive checking behavior disrupts everything from educational focus to family bonding opportunities. What's happening in the brain during social media use bears striking similarities to substance dependencies. Each notification, like, or comment triggers the brain's reward pathway, releasing dopamine, the same neurotransmitter activated by drugs, gambling, or other addictive behaviors. Over time, the brain requires increasingly frequent or intense digital stimulation to achieve that same pleasurable response, creating a dependency cycle that's neurologically real, not just a matter of willpower or discipline. This neurologic hijacking correlates directly with alarming mental health trends. Research has documented a 46% increase in depression diagnoses among adolescents that tracks alongside rising social media usage patterns. This relationship works both ways. Depressed teens often seek more social media engagement, which paradoxically tends to worsen their symptoms rather than alleviate them, creating a dangerous feedback loop that's difficult to break without intervention. What makes this situation particularly concerning is that we're witnessing unprecedented, quote-unquote, natural experiments playing out across different countries. Certain nations have significantly higher addiction rates than others, creating real-time case studies in how social media affects entire populations. These global patterns provide valuable insights into how cultural, economic, and social factors can either amplify or mitigate technology's impact on well-being. For parents wondering if their child is developing problematic usage patterns, watch for these warning signs: disrupted sleep from late-night scrolling, visible anxiety when separated from devices, declining interest in previously enjoyed online activities, and irritabilities when limit is imposed on usage. These indicators often appear before full-blown addiction develops and represent your best opportunity for early intervention. I often tell parents that technology itself isn't inherently harmful. It's the relationship with technology that determines whether it enhances or diminishes well-being. Creating healthy boundaries early helps prevent problematic patterns from becoming entrenched. Simple changes like device-free meals, charging phones outside of the bedrooms overnight, and modeling healthy digital habits yourself can significantly reduce addiction risks. As promised, if you'd like to learn more about our work at CETA or get a free assessment to see if you or a loved one suffer from social media addiction, check out our free assessments below. And as always, good luck with maintaining that digital balance.